Do it, quickly.
What happens if you choose to murder the fallen Jedi Bastila aboard the Starforge in Knights of the Old Republic?
For the sake of what we once shared, do not make me suffer. End my life quickly. There is no other way.
And perhaps a more pertinent question being, is killing her actually deserved?
No!
Interestingly, Bastila Shan is the only party member in KOTOR who exclusively can be killed via a pure Lightside playthrough. Admittedly, Juhani is an exception as she goes both ways, which we will circle back to. But the Cathar, like the rest of your companions, are only able to be slaughtered if Revan, with a sacrifice of blood, descends down the dark path once more, slaughtering the hapless Juhani and Jolee bindo atop the Rakatan temple as a fallen Bastila watches on. From there, the dark side ending for the game is unlocked, and Bastila, now acting as a Padawan to Revan, escorts him while the duo is free to stalk down any remaining dissenting party members at your leisure.
Run for admission. Go, go!
After breaching the Starforge, you can finally kill the inferior Malak. Your revenge is rewarded with a cutscene of Bastila, who announces the return of the Dark Lord Revan to a legion of chanting acolytes.
Malak is dead. All hail the return of Darth Revan, the true Lord of the Sith.
All hail Lord Revan. All hail Lord Revan.
So, how then is Bastila's death inexplicably tied to the game's Lightside ending?
The Jedi Order is in tatters. It is only a matter of time until your Sith minions wipe them from the face of the galaxy.
If instead of siding with the fallen Shan, we battle her with the aid of our companions atop the Rakatan temple, she will always escape to the Starforge. And thanks to Cathar Nasi, the Jedi and the Republic are apprised of Bastila's fall from the light.
It's because of Bastila, Admiral. She turned to the dark side and became Malak's apprentice.
If Bastila is using her power to augment the Sith, then Malak's fleet is invincible. Our only hope is to somehow stop Bastila from using her battle meditation.
Upon entering the superweapon, we defeat scores of darkside acolytes only to find Bastila under Malak's instruction awaiting our arrival.
Revan, I knew you'd come for me.
You can't escape, Bastila. Wherever you run, I'll hunt you down.
I have no doubt of that. I was no match for you in the temple, but when I fled, I knew you would follow me here. Now you must pay the price. Here on the Starforge, the power of the dark side is at its strongest. This time, you will not defeat me.
Bastila stops her battle meditation to engage in dialogue. Although combat is still inevitable, she disengages several times during the scuffle once enough damage has been inflicted and resumes said dialogue. This gives Revan the opportunity to try and convince her to renounce the dark side and bring her back to the light, as well as potentially conclude Bastila's romance arc. Instead of aiming for her canonical redemption, we also can take the opportunity to strike her down, saying,
This is not possible. You have rejected the dark side. You are a weak and pathetic servant of the light. How can you still stand against me? Why can't I defeat you?
I am stronger than you could ever be. You can't win, Bastila. Now, you must die.
Yes, I see you speak the truth. I am no match for you. Please, for the sake of what we once shared, do not make me suffer. End my life quickly. There is no other way.
This is your earliest opportunity to simply get this over with and kill her and say, "You're right. Don't worry. You won't feel a thing."
Do it, quickly.
For the Jedi! I'll hold Malak off. You two get out of here. Find the Starforge.
Before we explore how the Jedi react to the loss of their queen on the chessboard, so to speak, perhaps the more pressing question is, why would this be a deserved death? Conversely, it's easily argued that 1. Bastila fell to the dark side due to her own sacrifice to save Revan. 2. Malak preyed on Bastila's ego, that the Jedi had some hand at least in creating, as her ascension through the Order was fast-tracked thanks to her invaluable battle meditation. And 3rd, Revan redeeming Bastila through love is the canonical ending for the game.
Good luck, my love. and may the Force be with you.
So why, with all of these points in Bastila's favor, is her death arguably justified? Well, remember earlier how I said Juhani is the only other party member who can be killed in a Lightside playthrough? I believe the developers added Bastila's death as a direct consequence for her complicity in doing the dark deed. Consider the following. When arriving on Dantooine, the Jedi, in their desperation, concoct a test to make sure a reprogrammed Revan will adhere to the light and, more importantly, the Jedi Order's directives in killing his former apprentice. And the test itself is quite simple. Remove a dark Jedi from a nearby grove.
The dark side still taints the ancient grove. Your lessons cannot continue until the spreading corruption of the dark side has been stopped. This is your task, apprentice. May the Force be with you.
When facing the fallen Juhani, she indeed has embraced the dark side.
I am Juhani, and this is my grove. This is the place of my dark power. This is the place you have invaded.
And thus we can kill her accordingly. Returning to the Jedi, having passed their quote-unquote trial, even if we ourselves had secretly embraced the dark side once more and erroneously claimed that Juhani was too far gone to the dark side to ever be saved, unaware of our own hypocrisy in our utterings, our assertion is met with warranted skepticism.
Heed her example. All are susceptible to the lure of the dark side. We must always remain vigilant against it.
When speaking of the dark side specifically, Bastila muses.
The dark side is not simply giving in to anger, temptation, or to use the Force to destructive ends. These things only lead to the dark side. The dark side grows stronger and more insidious the closer you draw to it. It begs you to surrender to it, to release all its terrible power, and it becomes harder and harder to resist. And once you stop resisting, it's too late. It twists you up inside and turns you into a mockery of everything you once stood for. And that is why the dark side is so insidious. If you are not careful, you do not even see each small step you take towards it until it's too late.
Are you saying the light side is innocent of killing?
One who serves the light does not strike down an innocent. We take arms against the dark side and the injustice that follows it only. It's so easy to think that we would never fall prey to such a horror, that we have unlimited control, vigilance, and foresight. If only that were true. The Sith have become powerful because there are many Jedi who've succumbed to the lure of the dark side and joined their cause. What greater weapon is there than to turn an enemy to your cause, to use their own knowledge against them? We are weakened while they are strengthened, so we must harden our hearts and do whatever is required to fight against the dark side, even when the battle becomes wearying.
Superficially, this seems to be a warning born of compassion, but here's where things take a dark turn for the worst. Call it karma or even irony, but the fact Bastila and the Council condemn a fellow Jedi to death, innocent of her reported crime, just to make sure that their conversion of Revan to their cause did indeed stick, as if to compete with the Sith is bad enough.
I am skeptical of your methods and your intentions, but if nothing could be done, then that is the way of things. Keep in mind the danger of the dark side, lest you fall into its grasp.
Heartbreakingly, we later find that Juhani herself had a lover called Belaya, who, in her grief of finding Juhani was slain at the Council's behest, would choose to leave the Order and join the Sith to seek revenge in her former lover's name.
I am Belaya, once of the Jedi, but now of the Sith. It was your murder of Juhani that placed this bitter blackness in my heart. I couldn't touch you on Dantooine, but I can here. The Sith have taught me the power of freedom and revenge. For Juhani!
So, the fact Revan could potentially be faced with the exact same situation and decision, albeit different circumstances, on a Lightside path, mercilessly killing Bastila at his choosing instead of embracing the power of love or even redemption, is almost poetic justice. The most damning piece of evidence to bolster this assertion is that Bastila's quote about turning your enemies to your cause is again echoed in Revan's own revelation, which, if you take said revelation as a man betrayed by the Order for their own nefarious ends to win the war at any cost, this cutscene potentially turns into a rage-fueled revelation.
The lure of the dark side is difficult to resist. I fear this quest to find the Star Forge could lead you down an all too familiar path.
What greater weapon is there than to turn an enemy to your cause, to use their own knowledge against them?
So, with all this in mind, what happens when you murder a fallen Bastila whose once valuable battle meditation made her an invaluable asset to the Jedi Order had, like her fellow defecting Jedi brethren, fallen to the dark side? Well, the steps the Jedi take when faced with Bastila's fall eerily parallel Juhani's. They A. have Revan breach the Starforge to root out the presence of evil, just like the Dark Grove. B. fully accept versus condemn killing Malak as he could not turn him back to the light, not that the Jedi would know if he tried. And C, if you choose not to redeem Bastila and instead murder her during your confrontation.
No!
Thanks to completing the task the Jedi set forth by effectively destroying the Sith's power base, all is forgiven. Instead, after killing the Sith Lord and his apprentice, you see a familiar cinematic for the Lightside ending, a celebration which has some obvious gaps of where Juhani and Bastila once stood, but nobody seems to mind. Instead, in deafening silence about the fallen comrades, now that the Jedi have deemed everything as it should be, with their position of power once again firmly cemented, I guess there is no more need for battle meditation. Master Rook still takes the time to lecture Revan and the remaining party that they must remain ever vigilant should the Sith ever threaten the Jedi's precious position of power in the galaxy, as they alone represent all that is good and worthy. Roll credits.
I too would like to honor you for your actions. We Jedi now have another tale to weave into the grand history of our eternal order. The redemption of Revan, the prodigal knight. Wherever you go, you will be recognized as the saviors of the galaxy, the heroes of our age. But you must remain ever vigilant, for one day you may be called upon yet again to defend the glory of the Republic against the tyranny of the dark side. For this is the destiny of the Jedi.